Good morning, everyone. Happy 4th of July. My name is Bernie. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar this morning. Our company is called WFG and it stands for World Financial Group. And we are in alliance with over 75% of Fortune 500's financial institutions, banks, and insurance companies. We've surpassed companies been around for years, companies which you may have heard of, such as Charles Schwab, Merrill Lynch. Well, today I'm proud to announce that we've been recognized as being in the top 1%, that's right, 1% of over 8,000 broker dealers in the country. You're about to hear a story of a well-established company with over $500 billion in assets and the process of revolutionizing the entire financial services industry. And do you know what our company philosophy is? No family left behind. That's right, not your family, not my family, no family left behind. And we are completely rewriting the record books of how financial products are being distributed, not only in this country, but around the world. Without much further ado, it's my honor to introduce to you our speakers this morning. And it's perfect timing, it's 4th of July. Our speaker, it's my honor to introduce to you. He served in the military, in the Marine Corps for 13 years. So if you're here, if you're actively serving in the military or has served, thank you for your service. We really appreciate you. He was a Marine Corps drill instructor, carried the colors for President Clinton and Bush Sr. What an honor, right? Led the silent drill team, which is the #1 drill team in the entire world, and much leadership, offices all throughout the country, and his business with his wife. It's my honor to introduce to you our Senior Executive Vice Chair, Don Charlier. The other speaker we have, thank you, Don. Thank you very much for your service. It's an honor. The other speaker this morning is our CEO. He's my personal mentor and personal friend. We speak actually the same dialect. He came from the Philippines. He was a nurse. With her husband, they served as missionaries, serving the world, sharing the love of God for almost 10 years before coming to America. And they work as nurses, but their heart has always been to help people. Their heart has always been to serve. And when they found this company, they planted their flag because now they can do whatever they want to do and serve the Lord and share the good news. It's my honor to introduce my CEO, again, my personal friend and my mentor, Jing Ho.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Greetings to everyone. Happy 4th of July. I'm just so excited to be here this morning. I'm so fired up. And what I want to share with you this morning is, a story of our company and what we do for the community. And you're going to spend a few minutes with me just understanding the power and the impact that our company is making in our community out there. And I'm going to start by sharing a little bit about who am I. It's like Bernie mentioned, I was born and raised in the Philippines, and my mom sent me to school to study nursing. Just like most of you guys, I'm an immigrant here too in the United States, but my parents sent me to school because they were thinking, well, when you graduate, we're going to send you to the US and, make a lot of money and retire us. That was the expectation, in our culture. But then I remember after I graduated from the nursing school, God called us to a different mission field, which is, the really serving God through our missionary work all around the world. So as you can see, we have some pictures here in at the Great Wall. Me and my husband, we did travel around the world for nearly 10 years just to learn culture and, share to other people about the love of God. And that has been our calling. And in 2003, we came here in the U.S. because, my husband pursued further studies. And as a result, I have to work as a nurse to support ourselves. So I remembered, so I have some picture here where I was doing nursing. I was a new nurse at that time. And I was working with these nurses that worked 2-3 jobs. And, they've been in the nursing workforce for 20-25 years, and they're getting ready to retire. And I remember that was 2008 when the market crashed. And I came to work, they were like depressed, crying, and and they lost 100,000, 200,000, even 300,000 in one day. And I thought, like, what's going on? I didn't understand. And I just realized, like, wow, these nurses, these friends of mine, hardworking nurses, will end up working 10 more years just to catch up with what they lost, instead of retiring the next few years. And that was the turning point in my life, like thinking, like, wow, I don't want to end up like working for the rest of my life like them. And as a result, my husband and I decided that we need to learn how money works in America, because we want to retire early and go back to the mission field, like, which is our first love, and really serving God through our missionary work. And how can we do that? First, we ask ourselves, like, we really need to educate ourselves how we can save, grow, and protect in, our retirement, reduce our taxes. And second, we need to look for a vehicle or a platform that could continually provide funds for us while we do, our missionary work. And certainly in nursing, once you stop working, then you won't have any income, right? And so we started looking for opportunity that will give us a horsepower and a platform to give us the flexibility and control of our time and income. So finally, after 8 years, we got introduced into this company. And I'm telling you guys, this company changed my family's destiny forever. I know God has the ultimate control, but we are responsible to make it happen. And so, we learn all these principles that I'm going to share with you guys, and implemented all the master plan, that the company created for us, right? And at the same time, my husband saw the power of what this company could do to us and to others, like our coworkers, and how they could protect the retirement. So we actually, joined this company 9 years ago, and with this two powerful platform vehicle, we're able to be, to experience financial independence. Just like our theme today is, financial independence, right? So how could we get there? And so at the age of 43, I was able to retire being as a nurse, and, continue our mission work and continue what we're doing now. And even my husband doing what he's doing in the film industry. And so really our mission is no family left behind. And so we fell in love with the company. And that's why I want you guys to consider, like today, right? If you are hearing my story, and later you're gonna hear a lot of great story, I want you to consider these three questions. Do you know someone who could benefit from this message? Can this information help you guys, your family, and your friends financially? And lastly, are you intrigued by the #1 company in the industry in the US? And so as you can see, our company is big companies owned by Aegon. In our next slide, right? Aegon is a global financial services organization. It's a 175-year-old company that's based in the Netherlands. And Aegon, it has over $490 billion in assets. Can you imagine that? Actually, Aegon made it to the list of, too big to fail company, because it's just, basically means, they have a tougher capital standard and tighter regulation. And, this Aegon is so huge, larger than Amazon and Microsoft combined together. So what happened was Aegon wanted its presence here in the US in the 1990s. And so they looked for a reputable company and found Transamerica. Transamerica is over 100-year-old, also founded Bank of America, loaned money to Walt Disney, right? A huge name recognition behind Transamerica. So in 1999, Aegon bought Transamerica, which actually considered the largest purchase ever made by a Dutch company overseas. And so not only we're big company with a huge backing, but basically, Transamerica bought World Financial Group. But in addition to that, we also have access to hundreds of companies that we represent to our clients. So in our next slide, you can see we're not like the traditional company. We're not captive company. Here we work with big companies. All of them who are A-rated or better companies work with us. These are just one of the few. Nationwide is on your side, Pacific Life, Transamerica, Prudential, Franklin. We work with over hundreds of companies and thousands of mutual funds company out there, the biggest and the greatest out there in the world from Wall Street. So in short, we represent our client to Wall Street by taking the very best solution for each of our clients. And so in our next slide, as you can see, we have 4 cornerstones that, these 4 principles that we focus on. When we sit down with our client, what we do is we look at these 4 areas. And if our client is able to implement these 4 areas, they could get faster and quicker, a lot faster and quicker to their retirement goals, right? And so let's talk about growth first, because we have growth, safety, protection, and tax advantage. But with growth, basically, this is what we call the rule of 72. Albert Einstein called this as the eighth wonder of the world. It's the rule of compounding interest. So what it does is, you take 72 as a constant number and you divide it by the interest rate you're getting. So for example, if the bank is generous enough and it's giving you 1%, right? So 72 divided by 1% equals 72 years. And that's how long your money will double. So let's say you're 29 years old and you put $10,000 in the bank and the bank gave you 1%. Guess what? 29 plus 72 years, that's how long your money will double. So you're going to be dead by that time that you see your money doubles, right? If you're only getting 1%. But let's take a look at on the other side of the corner here, which is 10%. So if you find like an investment company that, gives you 10% growth, so 72 divided by 10% is 7.2 years. And that's how long your money will double. So that same example, 29-year-old guy, $10,000, right? So you just put 10,000 without adding a single cent. Guess what happens? At 36, 43, 50, 57, 65, 72, and even after that, if you're still alive, you get like 6 or 7 doubles of your lifetime. So that 10,000 will be 640,000 at 72 years old. And that's the power of compounding interest. And so that's really important, because in that slide, you would ask yourself a question like, where will you get that 10%? And also, how many doubles will you have in your lifetime? So that's a very important question. In the protection side here, you'll see that there's different options for your money, right? To invest your money. We have these 3 different buckets here. We have the fixed, variable, and the index one. So for the fixed one, basically what it does is like, just give you the fixed growth. There's no opportunity to grow your money. And, but in the variable one, in the middle one, it goes up and down, because what happens is, you invest it in the market, and the market is good, you go up with the market. If the market is down, then you go down with the market. So just like what happened to my coworkers, ex-coworkers before, those nurses, they're heavily invested in this area with their 401k, 403b. So, they lost a lot of money when the market was, when the market crashed. And so now with the third principle here, which is the index one, you get the benefit of, of the growth, right, with the market, because when the market is growing, you actually grow with the market. And then when the market is down, you lock your growth and you just stay flat, which means you never lose your money there. And you wait until the market is up again and you participate with the market. And then when the market is down, then you just stay flat and you don't lose any money, and it goes up all the way, right? So actually here, you don't experience market volatility, but you experience some growth with the market here. So a lot of people, majority of the people are in the fixed and the variable one, and a lot of people don't know that this index, the third option, exists, right? But this is a viable option that wealthy people put their money in the index account. Now in our next slide, we'll see the impact of taxes here. The question here is, where's the best place to put your money, right? So but then the most important question to ask yourself is, how much taxes are you willing to pay? And there are different strategies to mitigate, to help this impact of taxes. And we have the tax now bucket here, which is, your money in the checking or savings, right? So what happens is at the end of the year, you get 1099 from this investment company and you get taxed on all the growth. For the middle bucket, that's your tax later. So that's your 401k, traditional IRAs. So you don't pay on your monthly contribution there right now, your penny seeds, right? But once you have more money during the harvest time, that's where you pay taxes, both on the principal and the growth. So you get actually taxed twice here. So I didn't know. I remember when I came to work, I was a new nurse, and then I went to HR and they gave me a packet and they told me like, hey, here you go. You start saving money in your 401k, and that's all they offered that, and there's no other option. So that's all we knew. So, but then, I thought that that's really helping me at some degree. But then later when I retired, I have money there and like, wow, this is the tax that they're taxing me. IRS, right? My silent partner is taxing me a lot of money. And, a lot of people didn't know that. And so, but we have another option, which is the tax advantage, right? Where you can put your investment or your retirement in a Roth IRA, also in a cash accumulation in an insurance policy where You pay taxes now on your contribution with the little amount you're putting in. But then when my money is growing and more in the future, I don't have to pay taxes at all of all the growth. That's my net. Everything goes to my pocket. So when we learned this principle, I remember we started the plan, right? And so, wow, we're just like blown away because really that's the way to hide my money from Uncle Sam, right? Legally. And so we have a lot of this actually, me and my family, between me, my kids, and my parents, we have a lot more than 10 of this because we know that this will get us to our retirement goal so much quicker and faster because we get more here when we retire. So those are the three. And then, when Uncle Sam or whoever, the government dictates that, your tax is going to go up in the future because of our national debt, then, I'm safe, right? Because I already paid taxes and all the growth is mine. Unlike in the middle bucket, you don't know what's going to happen to your taxes in the future. So on our next slide, you will see that this is what we do really on the client side. We have the 6 steps to financial independence. It's like a complete and total comprehensive financial package. We take a holistic approach, right? And look at all areas of our clients' financial well-being. We're not just like here to tell you, this is what you need, right? But what we do, just like in my nursing world before, we do our assessment first before we can come up with diagnosis. The doctor will come up with diagnosis and we'll do our intervention. Same thing here, right? Would it be cool, right, if we could do the same thing? Like imagine having a financial map that would get to your retirement dream if you follow it. And so we look at 6 areas like cash flow. We want to, make sure that there's, the incomes that in and out. We help them manage their expenses, and that's one thing. Another thing is emergency funds. So we want to make sure that, they're safe, or we make plans that they're saving at least 3 to 6 months of their income for any unexpected expense or emergency, just like what happened during the COVID season. A lot of people got furloughed, lost their job. So if they don't have that emergency fund in place, guess what happened, right? So they will resort to having credit card debts or other, type of debts because, they don't have any emergency fund saved. But if they already have debts, we also help them on that area. Imagine like I helped this friend of mine, actually a nurse who owes like a lot of money. And I was able to help her save at least $1,000 a month instead of going to credit card payment. Now it's going to her emergency fund, and so that's huge. And so we work with a company that help us consolidate debt and try to eliminate all these debts. And the fourth one is proper protection. This is very important because here we help our client place a proper protection against loss of income, against if they get sick and they can't work anymore. And so we have this long-term care, and we want to make sure that they're properly protected and their families and even their assets are properly protected as well if something happens to them. So we want to make sure that they have the right protection. And then the fifth one is building wealth. This is the retirement part. So where here we help our client strive to outpace inflation. If inflation rate is 3%, so we look for options that would give them more than that and help them reduce their taxes also. And we also have professional management, like active management. We can even manage their current 401k, 403b where they are working, and we do that for them and help grow some more. Last part here is the preserving wealth. So if you guys need help with living trust or will, so that your properties won't go through any probates and all that legal stuff, then we help create that for our client as well. And so really, it's great because with this financial needs analysis, most of the traditional company out there, they charge money to do this. But with our company, because our mission is no family left behind, we actually put this in place and give this to our client complimentary. So I highly encourage you guys to connect with the person who invited you and just take advantage of this service of the 6 steps. And so so this is what we do on the client side. And of course, for the next part of the program is, I would like to introduce again my great mentor, amazing person, a great leader, our senior executive vice chairman. He's been with the company for over 2 decades and a great family man. And he made so much impact in the lives of other people, thousands of people, including myself. And so I'm so honored and proud to introduce to you our great mentor, who was a Marine, who really gave a lot to our country for our independence. And so let's welcome our Executive Vice Chairman, Dan Charlet.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jing. Thank you, Jing. Jing, I was I was watching as you were speaking, and you know, one of the things when you've been in the business for 2 decades, you get a chance to see someone's dream unfold right in front of you. I remember when you and your husband Francis, when you guys got started in the business, and I remember you guys sharing your story where you were working at the hospital as a nurse, and then Francis was working as a hospital as a nurse, and you guys had opposite schedules. So as he was coming in, you were leaving. And I remember you talking about that, you know, you wanted to be able to have a family and kids and being able to spend time together. And as the years gone by and we traveled around the world, and I remember decisions that you've made. I remember when your husband walked away from his job and he made his first 100,000, and we were in St. Martin at the pool, and you were like, well, you were making 100,000 at the hospital. You didn't come here to make 100,000. We got to get to 250,000. And I remember you guys getting to 250,000. And I remember you saying, well, I can't quit my job till we make at least 500,000. And I remember when that happened. And then I remember when you guys, you know, thought about dreaming your dream home in the Philippines and designing your life and that happening. And then I remember having a conversation with your husband when he shared with me his dream about being a film producer and highlighting people around the world that did incredible things. And I remember when he did that, and now he's working in Hollywood and doing all those things, and watching you transition, taking over the family business and become the CEO of the business, and you guys are designing your life, and you guys got so much more in front of you. So I was just taking all that in gratitude and thinking about like how tough you guys are mentally and how you dared to go after your dreams. You know, as we talk about, you know, the land of the free and the home of the brave, but, you know, very few are free and very few are brave. And what I'm grateful for about this opportunity allows every single person from all walks of life, whether you're white, you're black, you're tall, you're short, you're fat, you're skinny, you're a woman, you're a man. It gives everyone an opportunity to dare to dream. So I applaud you, Jing. I mean, we've got a lot of great stories, but I applaud you and your husband for your strength and going after your dreams. So I want to share with you, there's 3 questions that should be answered for you this morning. Question number 1, is this a credible company? And I think Jing did a phenomenal job going over the credibility of our company. Question number 2, our crusade of what we do, financial literacy and educating families. You know, when you ask a family, you know, from a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated, how inspired are you to become financially independent and debt-free? I want you to think about this, right? With all the different things that's been going on, all the different changes, the uncertainty, there's 100% uncertainty in the market right now, right? With all the uncertainty that's going on right now, how would you like to be in a position where you're financially independent and debt-free, and you're in control of your time, you're in control of where you work and how you do business, and still be able to make a difference and still be able to have a crusade? You know, I was born in Haiti, and I grew up in Brooklyn, New York with a single mom. And I had an opportunity to join the Marine Corps in 1987, did some great things in the military. As I was being introduced, they talked about my career as a Marine Corps drill instructor down at Parris Island, which I did 2 years of working 17-hour days, 7 days a week. Then I was entrusted in carrying the colors at the White House. And I did that for another 2 years. Then I was entrusted in leading the Marine Corps Silent Drill Team, which is the #1 drill team in the world, and we traveled all around the world. And I had a blast doing that. But my original job in the military was aircraft rescue. I was a firefighter. And I remember in 1996, when I got stationed at El Toro, Santa Ana, California, I remember at 33 years old, I really started to assess my life and ask myself, man, where do I want to be 5 years from now? Where do I want to be 10 years from now? And at that point, what became to me very evident is that I wanted my time, because for so many years I did not have control of my time. I remember when I was a drill instructor, you know, I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was at the barracks training privates from 6 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. And that was my life for 2 years. And I remember thinking to myself, man, what would it feel like if I had my time, right? And at 33 years old, I started to become bothered. And I started to say, man, something's got to change. I want to be able to have a peace of mind. I want to be able to have my time. And I got introduced to our company in 1998. My mentor, Ed Milet, you can follow him on Instagram. He's got a dynamic podcast. And I met him in 1998. And I remember when he started sharing me this opportunity. And I was, to be honest with you, the first time that I saw it, I started thinking to myself, man, this sounds too good to be true. And I remember thinking that and sharing with my buddies in the military. They were like, Charlie, you mean to tell me you're going to own your own business? You're going to make millions of dollars. You're going to become financially independent, and you're going to have your time. They were like, man, you are drinking the Kool-Aid. And at the time, my mentor was 29 years old. He was making over $50,000 a month at the time. And I thought that was like, man, who makes $50,000 a month? And at that time, I was making $3,000 a month. And my mentor now makes over $1 million a week. And just think about, at that time, he was making $50,000 a month. I thought it was more money than anyone can make. And, you know, I started to really believe in the dream and the vision and the crusade of our company. I believed in it so much. In 1999, I walked away from my 13-year military career. I was 7 years away from getting my retirement. My buddies told me that I was crazy to get out. They told me I was being brainwashed. They told me I was joining part of a scam. Well, 22 years later, not 2, not 3, not 5, 22 years later, I'm still here. And the dream that my mentor challenged me with, the dream that my mentor sold me, is alive and well. And our team is doing extremely well. Our company is doing extremely well. So I want to share with you opportunity. And just to think about it, you guys, in 1998, when I got started here, it cost me $100 to get started here. And that $100 has made me and my families and our team over millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, which is awesome. As I look at our team, where WFG and Aegon pays our team over $17 million a year, which is exciting. It's one thing for you to become financially independent, but when you can impact the lives of others and watch others become financially independent, that's so gratifying. So as I go into our opportunity a little bit, I want to share with you our unique business platform, which I'm really excited about. If you take a look at it, there's no financial service experience necessary. So when I got started here, I didn't have a background in financial service industry. Like I shared with you guys, I was in the Marine Corps. I was able to start on a part-time basis, which means that I didn't have to leave my job. There's no time clock here. We're 1099. We're independent contractors. We can work from home, which is awesome. There's unlimited earning potential here. I remember when my mentor first challenged me, and he said, Charlier, I want you to think about this. What if you could turn your annual income into a monthly one and work a 4-hour work week? And I remember hearing that the first time, and then I remember when it happened. It was so exciting. Leadership development and mentoring business model. You want to be successful, one, you got to decide. You got to decide that, you know what? I remember when I decided for myself and my family and my kids that I just didn't want to be average. I didn't want someone to control my income. I didn't want someone to tell me where I can go and where I can't go. I didn't want someone to tell me that I can be fired, I can be let go. You take a look at unemployment right now. It's at its highest right now. And with a great company like ours, with a great platform like ours, we can turn a pandemic into a paydemic. Not to minimize what's going on in the world right now, but you take a look, great business models where it's not only that we can survive recession, but we can also survive a pandemic and turn that into a paydemic, which is powerful. Strength on your side, the power of choice, business expansion. We're licensed to do business in all 50 states, including Canada and Puerto Rico. Right now on this Zoom, we have people that are watching this from all 50 states. We have the WFG business system. As I sit in my home office here, if you look at this, this is our business format system. We've got a systematic way of doing the business where we don't have to knock on doors. We don't have to do cold calls. We don't have to send out flyers. We don't have to buy leads. We got an equal opportunity for all, diversified field force, growing the underserved market. Jing talked about the financial needs analysis, all the affiliated companies. We've got world-class recognition and events. We have our convention coming up. We're doing a virtual convention in September that most of you will be invited to. We've got technology and business tools. Just to think about this business platform, I want you to think about it. What would it cost you if you had to go buy McDonald's? What would it cost you if you had to go buy a franchise? Look at the top franchises that are operating now during the pandemic, and look at how much money it costs to buy those franchises. And I remember when I first looked at this opportunity and I looked at this platform, and I was so grateful. I was so grateful that with $100, I had access to this platform, and I had access to a successful leader that was willing to teach me, because he had a vested interest in helping me, which means that the more money I make, the more money he makes, which is totally awesome. We'll go into our compensation. And these are the averages, right? There's multiple streams of income. Imagine if you have multiple streams of income, which means personal income. And I remember when I first learned about the personal income, where I can pay my bills, fund my investments with my own pen. Then I remember agency income, your ability to develop other people. If you can help enough people get what they want, you automatically get what you want. Expansion income. I remember thinking about, man, you mean to me I can expand in all 50 states? I totally expand my business. Man, that's so awesome. Then we have bonuses. We participate in 3 different bonuses on a monthly basis, which is awesome. And we have reoccurring income, because we're dealing with insurance residual income and investment residual income, which is powerful. Now, if you become a broker with us, what I love is that we have promotion guidelines, which tells you exactly what you need to do to become a broker. I did it my first 90 days. There are people right now that are doing it a lot faster because the conditions are different. The standards are different now. You become a senior marketing director, you have life and securities. The average senior marketer, this is just the average. The average is making $64,000 a year of 1099 income. I want you to think about that. I live in LA, right? In LA, there's 9.8 million people in LA County. The average median income is $56,000 a year. That's working a 40, 50-hour work week, right? Our average broker makes $64,000 of 1099, which if you were W-2, you would need to make at least a 6-figure income or close to a 6-figure income to net $64,000. Now, if you're a player in that arena, you're making at least $1 million a year. If you're a senior market director, you have your life, your security and advisory license, the average broker is making $86,000 a year. Just think about it. If you're just an average person here, you're making $86,000 a year of 1099 income, which means if you had a job, you would need to make at least a 6-figure income, which means 110 to 120,000 to net 86,000. I want you to think about that. The IRS put out a publication. They said 93% of the population makes less than $100,000 a year. This is before the pandemic, right? 50% of that 100,000, 50% of that 93% makes less than $28,000 a year. And wait till you find out what the new stats are after this pandemic and after what's going on in the world right now. Executive market director, you become an executive market director. If you're an average executive market director, you're making at least $193,000 a year. If you're playing that arena, you're making $2 million. The young lady you got a chance to see speak in the beginning, Jing, her and her husband are CEOs in our company. If you're a CEO, I think they were one of the fastest leaders that became CEOs within our organization. If you're a CEO in our organization, in the company, you're an average CEO, you're making at least $350,000 a year. If you're a player, you're making $2.9 million, right, a year. If you're an executive vice chairman, right, if you're an average executive vice chairman, you're making $823,000 a year. If you're a player in that arena, you're making up to $1 million a month. Man, how exciting is that? To be in a position where you can control your income, you can design your life, you can decide what nonprofits you're going to contribute to, you can decide where you're going to have your kids go to school and where you want to live and where you want to travel and all of that stuff, which is so awesome. So as we go to the next one, we look at our team, right? Along with World Financial Group and Aegon, we all in Transamerica, we have the ability to brand our own organization. This is our field advisory board. These are local leaders, leadership council, and Synergy Financial. Someone on our team on Synergy Financial invited you to take a look at our opportunity. We have a history of success. These are all local leaders that started brand new with all different backgrounds. Started brand new and started within our organization that's making at least a 6-figure plus income, which is awesome. I want to highlight a couple of the leaders here. If you go to the next page, you take a look at Bathsheba and Joseph. You know, I moved to Beverly Hills back in 2012, and one of the first couples I met in Beverly Hills, they owned their own insurance agency before I met them. And they had been very successful in their insurance industry. Bathsheba and Joseph were in the traditional industry for 23 years. Once they met with myself and saw the business opportunity built on a solid system, they knew they could build something incredible for the future and get their time back. I remember when I first met with Joseph and Bathsheba, although they had been working in the financial service industry and they were making money, but the thing that challenged them, they had 7 kids and they didn't have time. They wanted to be able to travel the world. So they got started here because we had a system here, which is very, very powerful. If we move over to the next, this is Noelle and Tate. Noelle graduated with her master's from Cal State Long Beach and her MBA from Regis University, Colorado, and spent 21 years in public relations. Tate graduated Texas A&M, played in the NFL with the Arizona Cardinals for 4 years and worked as an Orange County sheriff for 10 years. Now they're about to cross $250,000 a year. And they have a beautiful, beautiful family, beautiful couple, extremely smart. And I remember when Tate was a sheriff, and I remember when he quit his job to come full time. And I remember Noelle was already making a multi-6-figure income. And I remember when she quit her job and came full time, and now they're brokers and their families in business with them, and they're excited about the opportunity. They're in control of their income and they're living their dream. This is just a couple of couples that are doing it extremely well, extremely great. Then we have Mike Austria. He's a broker with us. Mike worked at the healthcare industry as a registered nurse for several years. Although his main office is located in Monrovia, California, he's currently running his business remotely from Australia, and he's built a business that is paying him over $100,000 plus a year. But he has his time. Since the pandemic, he's been in Australia and running his business in Australia, which is totally, totally awesome. So this morning, you got the chance to see three things. You got a chance to see: one, a credible company; two, a viable crusade; three, an unbelievable business opportunity. Some of you are looking at this from a client standpoint, which means this: you wanted someone to do a personal financial needs analysis for you, and the person that invited you will schedule that for you. They'll schedule a financial needs analysis. Some of you might say, well, Dan, I've already have a financial advisor. I already have insurance. I already have all of that stuff, right? Well, let me ask you a question. Are you open to take a look at what your options are? See, one of the beautiful things about our company is that we don't represent any individual company. We have access to everything, right? So if I had bought an iPhone back in 2012, although that iPhone still can make a phone call, that iPhone, there's new iPhones that are out right now that are way better than the old iPhone. So we can do the same thing in the financial service industry. So companies like Pacific Life, Nationwide, Transamerica, Voya, they're constantly upgrading their products and services that they have for the consumer. So we'll do that for you complimentary for free. But here's how you tell us thank you. Once you've been educated on the Rule 72 and compound interest and all the financial fundamentals, what we want you to do is we want you to share our crusade. We want you to introduce us to people in the community that needs this information. They need to have a financial strategy, a financial game plan. So at some point in their life, they become financially independent and debt free. They've got a game plan to get out of debt. They got a game plan to put their kids through college if that's important to them. They've got a wealth plan. They've got the ability to transfer their wealth to their families and kids. And we provide that data. We provide that totally for free, as long as you introduce us to people that we can help the same way that we helped your family. Some of you are looking at it like myself. Back in 1998, I didn't hate my job. I actually loved being a Marine. If you would have talked to me in 1998, I would have told you, hey, if you cut me, I bleed green. I'm going to be in the Marine Corps for 25, 30 years. Actually, if I would have stayed in the Marine Corps 3 years ago, would have been my 30th year in the Marine Corps. I would have retired as an E9, enlisted E9. I want you to think about this. After 30 years in the Marine Corps, my highest pay would have been $7,500 a month. And my retirement would have been 40% of that base pay, which would have been right around $2,800 a month. And in 1998, my mentor said, Charlier, I know you love being a Marine. I know you're going to do this for 25 years. I get it. But let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month part-time, how would that contribute to your family? And I remember thinking to myself, man, if I could make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 part-time at that time, what it meant for me is that I could send my mom a check for $1,500 to $2,000 a month and take some of the financial pressure off of her. So that's why I got started here. And here we are 22 years later, millions and millions of dollars afterward. Some of you are looking at the opportunity from a full-time standpoint. Some of you are business owners. You got it. Right when I started talking about the opportunity, you got the big picture. You're the person that's sitting and you've got multi millions of dollars sitting in your accounts. And you're looking at buying a business. You're looking at buying a building. You're looking at buying a franchise. And you're saying, well, wait a minute, Charlier, you're telling me I can have this kind of opportunity, this kind of business, low overhead, everything's already done. And all I have to be able to get an insurance license with the state of California, which is $32 for the 52-hour course, $100 to get my state exam. And all I have to do is have a membership agreement with a clean background, and I can have access to a platform like this without having to write a check for $1 million or $2 million. And you're excited about the opportunity. You're excited about the opportunity, and you're looking at doing something full time. So we want you to go through the business review card. It says, I'm interested in learning about financial solutions. If that applies to you, check that off. Starting a career, part-time or full-time. If that applies to you, check that off. Both of the above right? If both of the above apply to you, check that off. Now, the person that invited you to this business presentation meeting is going to get in contact with you. They could also send you additional information. We have great brochures. They can email you all of that stuff so you and your spouse can take a look at it. Now, what we do is we do an interview. So this afternoon and tomorrow, although it's July 4th, but I want you to think about it. What if every day was a holiday, and what if every meal was a feast, right? So we'll be doing the interviews on July 4th. Our agents, we're fired up. We're excited because we're building our own companies and businesses. The interview will take about 15 to 20 minutes. This morning, we kind of jumped up and down to tell you how great we are as a company. Well, in the interview, we get a chance to showcase you a little bit and find out about yourself, about your background, to see if there's a fit. And maybe you have some detailed questions that you'd like to ask that we can help. We can answer those questions, and then also we have some questions for you. So we'll be doing interviews today and also tomorrow. We'll be doing interviews. The interview will take about maybe 15 to 20 minutes for the interview. And then also what we want to challenge you, those of you that get started with us between today and tomorrow, we want to challenge you this Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. We're going to be doing a business presentation meeting like this Tuesday evening. If you're fired up and you're excited, we want to challenge you after you do your interview to invite 2 to 3 people, preferably 3 or more, to the business presentation meeting. Here's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that are great in sales, people that are great teachers, people that are enthusiastic, people that are ambitious, people that are money motivated, people that are dissatisfied. By the way, 100% of the people out there are dissatisfied. People are looking for an opportunity like this, and we want to challenge you to invite them to Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you, guys. Have a great one. Appreciate your time.